Okay, good afternoon, class.
Good afternoon, sir.
And thank you for coming early in our tutorial class. It means that we have a lot of time to discuss our topic this afternoon. So for the past few days, we learned about the part of speech, and we are now in the continuation of our lesson. Okay, the parts of speech. And we already finished about the noun, the pronoun, and right now we're going to continue our lesson, and our topic this afternoon is about verb. So, and number 2, identify the major categories of verb. Number 3, we will going to identify the subject and the receiver of the verb in a sentence. Okay? So, what is a verb? April Joy, can you read? What is a verb?
A verb is a word or a combination of words that indicates action or state of being or condition. A verb is a part of a sentence that tells us what the subject performs.
Okay, so when you say that a verb is an action word, it indicates actions, or not only actions but also a state of being or condition. So it actually tells about what the subject is performing. Okay, so verb is a word that expresses, number 1, a physical action. Like, you know, what are the physical actions that you know? Some of the visible actions that you know, like for example, okay, to swim. Is it a visible action?
Yes.
Okay, so to swim is a visible action. To write, you
Yes.
see, okay, you see people writing, okay, visibly. And to climb, we can see people climbing, okay, visibly, okay, literally. And what else? A mental action. So a mental action means it's not about actions that can be seen. Okay, some of the examples are to think, to guess, to consider. What else? A verb is a word that expresses a state of being. So some of the examples are to be, to have, and to do. Okay, so let's now proceed to the discussion of the categories of the verb. So we're going to learn about verb expressing physical actions. So here are some sentences with verbs that express physical actions. So we're looking for an example, and the verb in the examples are being underlined. So number 1, can you read Rachel Ruth?
Giselle speaks and Lucky hear.
Okay, so she says, Pegs and Lucky heater. So can you identify what is the verb in the sentence?
Sells.
Okay, sells. It is being underlined. No? The subject and the doer of the action is she. Okay? And the receiver of the action is the pegs and the lucky heater. So in this example, the word sells is a verb. It is an action word. It is a physical action. Okay? So it expresses the physical activity to sell. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have this number 2 example. Okay, can you read that, Joy?
The doctor examined the patient.
What? The doctor examined. Okay? The doctor examined the patient. So, the underlined word examine is the verb in the sentence. And the subject of the action is the doctor. And who is the receiver of the action?
Patient.
The patient. Okay? So, the word examine is a verb. So, it expresses the physical activity to examine. Okay, that's the action word. Okay, examine. And example number 3, Allison bought a ticket. So, the underlying word bought is the action word. And the receiver of the action is, what is the receiver?
Ticket.
A ticket. Okay, very good. And who is the performer of the action? Allison. So we have already identified the example with examples of action word, physical actions, and the performer, and of course the receiver of the action. So you know what? Verb is very important in constructing a sentence. Without the verb, you cannot construct sentence. Okay? So we have here examples, and let's try to answer the following. We will be going to identify what are the physical actions in this following sentences. So number 1, can you read, Rachel Ruth?
Anthony hit the football.
Okay, so can you identify the verb in the sentence?
Kick.
Okay, kick is the action word here, and kick is a physical action, right? Kick is a physical action, right? Can you see a person kicking a football?
Yes.
Yes, okay, we can see it visibly. Okay, so who is the performer of the action?
Anthony.
Anthony. Okay, Anthony is the one who performs the actions. And what what is the receiver of the action?
Football.
Okay, the football. Okay, so the football is the receiver of the action. Sample number 2, can you read, April Joy?
The teacher reads a book to her students, then asks them questions about the story.
Okay, so I think we have a lot, or we have more than one verb in the sentence. Can you identify what are they? Okay, what are the verbs in the sentence?
Reads a book and asks.
What the first one?
Reads a book.
Reads, not a book. Okay, reads only. Okay, reads. And then the other one?
Asks.
Ask. Okay, so reads and ask are physical actions, right?
Yes.
We can see it visibly. Okay, and then who is the subject of the action?
Students.
The performer of the actions?
Teacher.
Teacher. Okay, so the teacher is the one who is performing actions, no? The reads and the ask verb or actions. Okay, so number 3 example, I am going to read, and then please identify what is the verb in the sentence. John visited his friend for a while and then went home. So what is the verb in the sentence?
Visited.
Okay, visited. And who is the performer of the action?
John.
So John is the one performing the action. Okay, and what is the receiver?
Friend.
A friend. Okay, so the action word here is visited. It is a physical action, right?
Yes.
Okay, number 4, Rachel Ruth, please read.
The dog ran across the yard.
So the dog ran across the yard. What is the action word here?
Ran.
Run. Okay, so run is the verb in the sentence. And what is the performer of the action?
Dog.
The dog. Okay. And what is the receiver of the action?
Yard.
The yard. Okay, so the dog is the one performing the action. The word run is the action word, the verb here in the sentence, and the yard is the receiver of the action. Number 5. Rachel Ruth, please read.
She yelled when she hit her toe.
Okay, so what is the action word here?
Yell and hit.
Yelled and
Hit.
hit. Okay, so who is doing the action? She is the one performing the action. And what is the receiver? Toe. Okay, toe is the one who receives the action. Okay, so can you now identify the verb under the category of physical actions? So some verbs expressing physical actions. Okay, so can you now create a sentence using a verb expressing physical actions? How about using the word jump in a sentence? Can you create a sentence using jump? Jump is a physical action. Okay. April Joy.
Rachel jumped the playground.
Okay, Rachel jumped at the playground. Okay, so is it physical actions?
Yes.
Right. Okay, so jump is a physical action. You can see it visibly. Okay, let's now proceed to the next category of verbs, and it is the verb expressing mental action. So the first category is about physical action. So we can see it visibly, right? We can see it visibly. Right now, we are going to learn about verbs expressing mental action. So it means that these actions are not seen visibly. Okay? So while many verbs express physical actions like jump, dance, to sing, verbs can also express mental actions. So here are some examples. Here are some of the examples. Number 1, she considers the job done. So the action word here is considers. Considers is not a visible action, right? Okay, so it categorized into a mental actions. So the performer of the actions here is she. Okay, and the receiver is the job. Okay, so number 2 examples. Peter guessed the right number. So the word guess is an action word, but it is not a physical action. It is a mental action. So the performer of the action here is Peter, right? And the receiver of the action is the right number. Okay. So guess is a verb. It expresses the mental activity to guess. Number 3 example. Okay, can you read? April Joy.
I thought the same thing.
Okay, so the word thought here is the action word. Okay, this is a word that expresses mental actions. So, and the performer of the action here is I. And the receiver is same thing. Okay. So the word thought is a verb. It expresses the mental activity to think. Okay. Let's now proceed to the examples and let's try to answer the following sentences and identify the following verb in a sentence. Okay, number 1. Rachel Ruth, please read.
I considered my choices carefully.
Okay, can you identify what is the verb in the sentence? Okay, consider. Okay, consider is the action word. Okay, it expresses mental what? Mental actions. Okay, number 2. I wonder about future almost every day. So what is the action word here?
Wonder.
I wonder. Okay, so I wonder. Wonder is not a physical actions. It expresses mental actions. So wonder is the verb in the sentence. Number 3, can you read? April Joy.
Some people worry almost all the time.
Okay, some people worry almost all the time. What is the action word here?
Worry.
Worry. Okay. So worry is the action word. Number 4, she believed in justice and freedom for all. What is the action word in the sentence?
Believe.
Believe. So believe is the action word here, and it expresses the mental actions. Number 5, can you read, Rachel Ruth?
Tony hope for better days.
So what is the action word in the sentence?
Hope.
Hope. Okay, so Tony hope for better days. So this word hope expresses the mental actions. Okay, so let's proceed to the next categories of the verbs. We have here the verbs expressing a state of being. Now, so as you can see here in the examples, they are not actually action words, but they are categorized as verbs. And we have here verbs expressing a state of being. So a small but extremely important group of verbs do not express any activity at all. So we cannot say that these words are action words. Literally not. So the verbs are to be, to have, and to do. The most important verb in this group is, I think, the verb to be. It is usually used in common, right? So here is the verb to be in the different tenses. So we have the subject, our subject, I. So the verb to be in the category of past tense, we will be going to use was. So every time we constructed the sentence and it begins with I, so if the actions was done already, we are using the word was. Okay? So in the present tense, we have and the future tense, we have will be. If you are using if you are going to use the subject you, we need to write in the past tense where, in the present tense are, in the future tense is will be. Okay? And if the performer or the subject is he, she, or it, so same with the I subject, it requires was in the past tense. Present tense is, and the future tense is will be. And then subject we and they, so we need to use where in the past tense and are in the present tense. And we have will be also in the future tense. So we have this to be verb. And the next is the verb to have. So as far as we know that we always encounter this kind of sentences or words, so they're actually verb. So we have the same subject. So the past tense had, have, will have for the future tense. And we are using also has for the present tense. Okay? So, and we have also the to do verb or verb to do. So the same subject, I, you, he, she, it, we, and they. We use did as to explain that a sentence is done already or it was being in the past tense. And the present tense, we are using do and does. Okay? And in the future tense, we'll be going to use will do. Okay, so let's proceed to the examples of the verbs expressing a state of being. So here in the first sentence, we will see the word is. Okay? So the sentence runs this way. Edwina is the largest elephant in this area. And the verb here is is. Okay? So it is from the verb to be. So as you can see, that verb to be under the present tense, right? Under the present tense. Number 2, can you read Rachel Ruth?
It was a joke.
So it was a joke. Can you identify what is the verb in the sentence?
Was.
Okay, was. So was is in what verb? Yes, in state of being. But in what? It is in verb to be, verb to have, or verb to do?
Verb to be.
Verb to be. Okay. So verb to be in what tense? In past tense, present tense, or future tense?
Past tense.
Okay, past tense because it was already done, right? So the word was is a verb from the verb to be. Okay, correct. Number 2, April Joy, can you read?
I am.
I am. I am. For your information, I am is the shortest sentence in the English language. It's the shortest sentence. So what is the verb in the sentence?
Am.
Am. Okay, so the word am is a verb from the verb to be. In what tense?
Present tense.
Okay, present tense. So we have another example. I have finished my homework. So can you identify what is the verb in the sentence?
Have.
Okay, the word have in what verb?
To have.
Okay, a verb to have. Okay, so the word have is a verb from the verb to have. Okay. So another example is, can you read Rachel Ruth?
I will do my duties tomorrow.
I will do my duty tomorrow. So can you identify what is the verb in the sentence?
Will do.
Will do under in what verb?
To do.
The verb to do. Okay. So is it in the past tense, present tense, or future tense? Future tense. Okay, correct. Okay, it is from the verb to do. Number 6, April Joy.
You did it very well.
So can you identify what is the verb in the sentence?
Did.
Okay, did. In what verb?
To do.
Okay, same. Yeah, under the verb to do. In what tense?
Past tense.
Okay, past tense. So it is under the verb to do. Correct. Okay, number 7. I think this is the last example. She had a lot of sacrifices for her family. So what is the verb in the sentence?
Had.
Had. Okay. So had under the verb what?
To have.
Under the verb to have. In what tense?
Past tense.
Okay, past tense. Okay, under the verb to have. So let's try some of the examples here. Let's identify the verb in the sentence. Number 1, can you read, Rachel Ruth?
I am from New Zealand.
I am from New Zealand. Okay, so what is the verb in the sentence? Am. Okay, in what verb?
To be.
Okay, verb to be. And in what tense?
Present tense.
Okay, present tense. Correct. How about you, April Joy? Can you read the example number 2?
You have the qualities of a good student.
So, what is the verb in the sentence?
Have.
Have. Okay, under in what verb?
To have.
To have. Okay, and in what tense?
Present tense.
Okay, present tense. Okay, correct. Number 3, he is 20 years old. So, what is the verb in the sentence?
Is.
Is. Okay, is, and under in what verb?
To be.
To be. Oh, verb to be. And in what tense?
Present tense.
Present tense. Very good. Okay, number 4, can you read April Joy?
They did it carefully.
Okay, so in what is the verb in the sentence?
Did.
Did. In what verb?
To be. To do.
To do. Okay, to do. And in what tense?
Past tense.
Okay, past tense. Correct. Number 5, we are in this together. So what is the verb in the sentence?
Are.
And in what category or in what verb?
To be.
To be. And what tense?
Present tense.
Okay, so the word are is in the present tense of the verb to be. Okay, so I think we done already our discussing our topic, and right now we will have a short quiz, okay, regarding what we have learned during our discussion. So let's identify the following verb and please state on what categories they belong. So number 1, can you read and give or identify the verb and in what categories they belong? Rachel Ruth, number 1.
The cat sat by the window.
Okay, so what is the verb here?
Sat.
Sat. Okay, sat is in what categories of the verb?
Physical action.
Okay, physical action, because sat is visible action. So you can see this action. So sat is under physical actions. Correct. Number 2, April Joy.
I play this song on my guitar.
Okay, and what is the verb in the sentence?
Play.
Play. Okay. So, in what categories?
Physical action.
So, the same as number 1, physical action, because play is a visible action. Okay, so correct. Number 3, you had the right answer. So, what is the verb in the sentence?
Had.
Had. And in what category?
State being.
Okay, verbs expresses a state of being. Okay, so had under the verb to have. Okay, and in the past tense. Okay, number 4, Rachel Ruth, please read.
Darling appreciated her aunt's efforts.
Okay, Darlene appreciated her aunt's efforts. So, what is the verb in the sentence?
Appreciated.
Appreciated. And in what category?
Mental action.
Okay, it belongs to the mental actions category. Okay, very good. Number 5, April Joy.
We have our own choice.
Okay, so what is the verb in the sentence?
Have.
Okay, have. So, have is in the
State of being.
state of being. Okay, and under the verb to have. Okay, verb to have, and it is in the present tense. Number 6, she recognized me from across the room. So, what is the action word or what is the verb in the sentence?
Recognize.
Recognize, and in what category?
Mental actions.
Mental actions, because it is not a visible action. So, it considered as mental actions under the mental actions category. Okay, so number 7, can you read it? Rachel Ruth?
We did the most horrible
Okay, and what is the verb in the sentence?
Did.
Did. Okay, so did is the verb here, and in what category?
State or state.
Okay, under the verb expresses the state of being. Okay, and under the verb to do in past tense. Okay, number 8, see, delete everything people telling about you. What is the verb in the sentence?
To believe.
It delete. Okay, so what category?
Mental action.
Mental actions. Okay. Number 9, students realize that it is better to have face-to-face class. What is the verb in the sentence?
Realize.
And in what category?
Mental action.
Mental actions. So you did it done. You did it correct. Okay, number 10, Rachel, please read.
I have cooked the meals and I will do the dishes now.
So can you identify the verbs in the sentence?
I have,
Okay, have and,
and I will do.
okay, or will do. Okay, so have and will do. Okay, so under in what category?
State to be.
Okay, state of being correct. Okay, number 11, she lay on the couch and slept there all night. So can you identify the verb and in what category? April Joy, what are the verbs here in this sentence?
Lay and slept.
Okay, lay and slept. Okay, so in what category?
Physical actions.
Okay, physical actions because they are visible actions. Number 12, Rachel Ruth.
Andy closed the door.
So what is the verb in the sentence?
Close.
Close. Okay. By the way, in number 12, who is the performer of the action? Andy. And what is the receiver?
Door.
The door. Okay, so under in what category?
Physical
Physical
actions.
actions. Okay. You did it well. Okay, number 13, I remember what happened yesterday. So what is the verb in the sentence?
Remember.
Remember. And in what category?
Mental actions.
Okay, mental actions. Number 4, can you read April Joy?
We eat dinner then walk around the park.
So what are the verbs in the sentence?
Eat and walk.
Okay, ate and walk. And under in what category?
Physical actions.
Okay, physical actions. Number 15, last. Rachel Ruth, can you read the last sentence?
He does his work diligently.
Okay, he does his work diligently. And what is the verb in the sentence?
Does.
Okay, does. Under what category?
State
Okay, state of being, and in under the verb to do. Okay, and is in the present tense. Okay, thank you for your participation this afternoon. And please, okay, we have our announcement. Please review your lessons tonight, and we will have a short quiz tomorrow before we proceed to our next topic. So good day and have a safe way back home. Okay. So thank you for your participation. You can go home now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.